I think we can start.
Well, let's wait. Usually, oh, no, she,
It's blinking.
okay, very good.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Debbie Travis, I'm president of the Montgomery County, Rapid City, Floyd County branch of the NAACP, and this is Jess Davis, who is president of the League of Women Voters. We welcome you here tonight for our candidates forum for mayor of Christiansburg, so thank you for being present. Both the League of Women Voters and the NAACP are nonpartisan organizations, but our goal is to provide education to the community and share information so that you are informed to go out and cast your votes. We have a lot of educational programs available through different focus areas, and we invite you to join us and be a part of our advocacy efforts. So at this time, I'm going to I've already introduced, but let Jess say a few words.
Yeah. Yes, again, thank you everybody for being here tonight. As Debbie said, we would love to invite you all to be a part of either the NAACP or the League of Women Voters. Both organizations are really working to defend democracy and making sure that every voice is heard and that every vote is counted in the process too. And so, again, just thank you for being here tonight. This is a part of the process. Please come see us out in the hallway to either get registration to join one of the organizations. If you need to update your voter registration, if you need to register to vote, we're happy to kind of help you get that all squared away. I will also say that for the league, we do have monthly meetings. Our next one coming up is first Tuesday, so October 7th at 5:30 at the Bull and Bones in Blacksburg. We're going to be hosting some of the students from Virginia Tech in the Hokies Vote Caucus and kind of learning a little bit more about the initiatives that they're having on campus to get collegiate students to vote. And so would love to see more people out and learn about that.
Also, I'd like to introduce to you, to some, but also to present again our moderator for tonight, and that's Karen Jones. Karen Jones is the political action chair for the Montgomery County Rapid Floyd branch of the NAACP, and so she'll be moderating tonight. And I would certainly thank the two candidates for being here tonight. Otherwise, we could not have a candidate forum. But if you have questions, we do have runners who will pick up your cards. So just raise your hand or raise the card, and they'll bring them up to the sorters. And I'd like to thank David Travis and also Megan Doney, who is a part of our organization as well. And we thank them for being the sorters tonight. So Karen will give you more information. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible. So please send them up. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank you, and welcome again, everyone, to tonight's mayoral candidate forum for the town of Christiansburg. We do have two candidates vying for the position to become your next mayor, who will serve a 4-year term. And so I'm excited to be here today with Michael Barber and Carl Pauley. And I will tell you all, I'm going to do really hard to try to call them by their first names and not by the proper names, as that's how I'm used to addressing them both. So we'll work through that together this evening. So for tonight's forum, our guidelines are: each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and tell why they are running for office. Questions for the forum will come from the audience, our potential voters. The audience will be asked to submit questions upon arrival. And again, if you have questions or you need a card, raise your hand and someone will bring those to you. All questions submitted will be screened for duplication and variety. The questions that we ask tonight will pertain to issues that can be addressed by local government. Also, all questions that are asked will be asked by both candidates, so we do not ask questions to individuals. As the moderator, I will ask those questions, and I will do my very best to rotate among all the candidates that we have.
All two of them.
Yeah,
Again, each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to answer each question. They will also be allowed the opportunity, if they have a rebuttal, they can have 1 minute for a rebuttal. We also have timekeepers sitting in front that will let them know when they have 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then when to stop. And we've also allowed our candidates to have paper or some preparation so they can jot down some answers before they begin to answer questions this evening. And so with that, if you all are ready, that's when y'all say, yes, we're ready.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So we'll begin first with our candidate introductions, and we will start first with Michael Barber.
I'm Mike Barber. I'm the current mayor of the town of Christiansburg. Have been the mayor for 3 terms, which is a total of 12 years. I have served 14 years before that on the town council. Was born and raised in the town of Christiansburg. Have lived here all my life. Been an active member in the community since I turned 21 years old, with 50-some years in the Kiwanis Club and various boards and organizations and things that I've served on. I'm a retired banker. I had 42 years in the industry, all of it, mostly all in Christiansburg and some out into the New River Valley. My wife, Erlene, I have 2 daughters, Flory and Lisa. I have 3 grandchildren, Emily, Maggie, and Lucas, sorry, and a great-grandson, Kason. So, as I say, I've been here all of my life, and I've gotten to know the things. I feel like I have a good operational handle on the town and the budgets and everything else. So, I'd ask you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl?
Hi, I'm Carl Pauly. I feel like I know an awful lot of the people out there in the audience. That's not surprising because I have been a public school educator for the last 34 years here in Montgomery County. I recently retired from my last position where I was the Dean of Students at Christiansburg Middle School. I was asked to go there for a couple of years to help how shall we say, straighten out that school. And I feel like I was successful with that, and then the position ran out. Prior to that, I was the principal at Auburn High School for 16 years. I was also a teacher at Christiansburg High Schools when I began my career here in Montgomery County. So my wife, Teresa, she's here as well, and she and I have lived here for 32 years. We chose to live in Christiansburg and start our family here in Christiansburg. We've raised 3 children to adulthood. All 3 of them, I'm proud to say, are gainfully employed. 2 of them are public school teachers here in Montgomery County. And we have 2 grandsons and a little granddaughter on the way in a month. And I basically have had a lifetime of service to this community, and I feel like pursuing something in the area of politics, if you will, or of town governance is a logical next step for me to take and continue my years of service, and feel like my leadership in the school system has prepared me for leadership in the town. Thank you.
Thank you both. So we'll start with our first question. And that question is, what experiences inside or outside of government have prepared you for the complexities of city management or town management as it is? And we'll first start with Carl.
Okay, well, I'm not a politician, so I don't really know all the ins and outs of what it takes to run a town or to oversee a town council, but I have a really good idea of what leadership is about, having been a school leader, school principal. Also, I failed to mention I was director of secondary education, where I was responsible for all of the middle schools and high schools in Montgomery County. I feel like I learned a lot about leadership and public service in that position. I also bring to the table deep connections with a lot of people here in this town, either former students or parents of current students, or just really, like, we couldn't even walk through the door on the way in today without bumping into someone whose daughter I taught, and my wife actually taught in preschool. So I feel like I have those connections. One of my responsibilities as principal and director were budgeting, and I've always been a good budgeter, both personally and professionally, and that's because I place needs above wants. I have a good eye for how to spend and be frugal, and I want to be a good steward of taxpayer money, and I feel like I've had good experience with that. And one strength I bring to the table for sure is just uniting people around a common goal. That's an essential skill for a school leader to have, and I feel like I could bring that to the table as well. Thank you.
Mike?
Well, I bring 26 years of service as a publicly elected official. I started out as a member of the Christiansburg Town Council, and 12 years ago ascended to the role of mayor, thanks to the citizens. I have a deep amount of government and municipal work experience, and the characteristics and what it takes to run a town with the help of a town council. I was a senior officer in the banks that I worked for. I feel like I have a working knowledge of what the economy is like now and was like then. I think that it's important as a mayor and a leader to be accessible. So if you come to over the last 12 years, if you come to any festival or event or thing sponsored either downtown by the town or for an organization in the use of the town, you'll see me there. You'll have seen me there. I go to every event, not just during an election year. I feel like it's important to be out, and that's when I really get to listen to the citizens. That's when we get to talk. My wife will tell you that she can start in Kroger in the produce section with me, and I usually can catch her over in the far aisle of frozen foods because I'm talking to people all the time. And that's what my job is. That's what the mayor's job is to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is, what are your priorities for the town of Christiansburg? And so we'll start first with Mike.
My priorities are the same priorities they've always been in 26 years as an elected official. It's to serve the citizens, to make them feel safe, secure, provide them with the facilities, the services that they need and deserve by paying taxes in this town. I feel like that we are very, very financially sound. We have a reserve fund of $34 million, and 30% of that is designated as non-spendable. We'll use it for emergencies. We feel the need and see the need to provide recreation. We feel the need to provide, good housing, good streets, good roads, good water, good sewer. We like to get it in and get it out in good benefit to everyone. I feel that it's important to provide the safety services too. Christiansburg is a very safe town. Fire, rescue, police are all top accredited agencies within the state. It's not cheap to run a fire department or a rescue squad or a police department, but it is a necessity in order to help our citizens feel secure. Thank you.
Carl?
I certainly cannot disagree with Mayor Barber. I love the town of Christiansburg. I feel very safe here. We have wonderful amenities here. I have no complaints as a citizen. I did conduct what I called a listening tour this summer, where I invited citizens to come in and share their concerns with me. The number one thing that I heard that I did not previously know about was the need to address aging infrastructure in our town, namely water, sewer, and stormwater. So I didn't realize that those were such major concerns among the citizens, and that seems like something that should be a top priority for anyone who is involved in running the town. Also, I appreciate what Mike said about being accessible. That's a priority for me as well. I think that I'm accustomed to being accessible. You know, in a school, having an open door policy, anybody can come in anytime. I would like to be accessible to townspeople. Take any phone calls, open door, come on in and see me anytime. And I'm a good listener. I'll listen to anything anybody has to say and then look into it and then consult with others and make the best possible decision. So the top priority seems to be for managing sewer, wastewater, water treatment, infrastructure in our town.
If I could respond for
Yes.
30 seconds.
Yes.
And Carl, I agree. It is an issue. It always has been, always will be. We have almost 500 miles of pipe running under this town. So it's totally, it's impossible to fix them all at one time. So our Public Works Director and our managers and our engineers have an ongoing system, and we know what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and whether or not we can afford it. So we are aware, I am aware, that infrastructure is a major issue.
Thank you. Our next question reads, how do you plan to bring the town council and community together to better the town? And we'll start first with Carl.
Yeah, that's something I feel like I addressed earlier. I can touch on it some more. I think it has to do with accessibility and transparency. I think that all decisions that are made by the town council need to be ahead of time put before the people so that they can consider it. I would invite, again, anyone to come and talk with me or any of the members of town council should feel the same way. So I think transparency and accessibility are key in addressing those concerns.
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, man. You have to be accessible. Now, there is at times friction between the council. Will be in every municipality in the country. But it is up to us to come together in the end. We may not all agree, but in the end, to make a majority decision is what best affects our citizens. Transparency is certainly something that we feel strongly about, I feel strongly about. And with that, you know, it's the same. The community, the listening to, the getting out and talking to. I've got an open door at my office. Have my email and cell phone on my business cards and everything else. So I am accessible. I am probably more accessible than any of the other mayors in the past. Thank you.
Our next question. With the citizens of Christiansburg facing rising costs over the last several years, what town taxes and fees will you propose to cut to reduce our financial strain?
Is that me? Are you, Carl?
That is you, Mike.
Absolutely nothing. We don't pay a lot of tax in this town. Our real estate tax is like 14 cents per hundred, as opposed to 78, 82, whatever it is this week with the county. So we rely on that tax money, whether it be meals and lodging tax, which is our biggest income producer in the town, to real estate tax, everything. We rely on that monies to run the town and give the citizens what they deserve and what they need. So, you know, to say I'm going to cut a tax, no. I don't agree with it. If we start doing that, then we're going to end up in the same situation that one of our neighboring communities is in right now. And I think we have a strong financial background, strength, and you know, do I propose to raise any taxes? Never. I don't like to raise taxes, but by the same token, I think in order to maintain the level of services that we provide, the all-encompassing public works, fire, police, rescue, I mean, engineering, the guys that come out at 2 o'clock in the morning, fix a water line at your house, we have to maintain a certain income. And that's why I feel the tax structure in Christiansburg at this point is very good compared to everywhere else around.
Paul?
Yeah, I apologize that this isn't a very exciting forum because there are no sparks flying. We seem to be in agreement on so many things. I do not find the tax burden to be very great in Christiansburg. I would like to say that I think it's all about using what we have responsibly and not increasing costs to the citizens. I believe in being a good steward of my own money, and I believe in being an even better steward of the money that belongs to someone else that I've been entrusted to. So I really, off the top of my head, couldn't think of any taxes that could be reduced. As Mike said, it's what keeps our government running. Listen, I'm not a fan of paying taxes. I wish I never had to pay taxes, but I have said many, many, many times, the taxes I least mind paying are my local taxes, because I can see those at work. I can see the road improvements. I can see the rec facilities. I get my road cleared in the wintertime, and the roads are salted, and I get my trash picked up, and I have no complaints about the current tax base in Christiansburg, but I would not want to see it increase, and I'd want to see what we do have used responsibly.
Thank you both. So our town manager, I believe, has announced his retirement, which means that we will be seeking a new town manager. How do you see your interaction as mayor in this process? And so we will go first with Carl.
Well, the town manager is someone who is hired, and the difference between that and the mayor and town council is mayor and town council are elected by the people. So we need to represent the people and get an understanding of what the citizens of Christiansburg want to see in a town manager, and then put that into practice in the hiring process. I don't know, is the mayor allowed to be included? I look at Mike, I don't know, is the mayor allowed to be included in the interview and hiring process of a town manager? That's an awfully important position. That's the person who truly runs the town, whereas the mayor and the town council oversee that and ensure that policies are being followed and the like. So I would like to be highly involved in that as the representative of the people to hire someone to do that work for us.
Mike.
Most assuredly, the selection of the manager for the town, the next manager of the town of Christiansburg, will be made by a decision of the council members. And I think 3-2 right now. We have an opening right now. At this point, I wouldn't even get a vote. I would participate as we always have. And I'm not sure any of Sam, Mr. Bishop, I think you've been in on a management hiring thing before, haven't you? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a long process. And this past time we had 30 applicants. We have screened it down to 10, and we will be getting a screening committee, which is the worst thing I've done in the last 2 weeks. I've caught more crap over it, but I felt it best in order to get to a ranking of the final candidates. We let an outside people, government officials, scan that list. They're not telling us who to hire, but they're going to rate them. I think they probably know the candidates, the qualifications of which they do. I'm going to take the heat for the way the screening committee was set up. That's my bad. But you learn by your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So our next question reads, over the past 5 years, what positive changes have you observed in Christiansburg, and what changes do you hope to support if elected as mayor? Mike, this will be you first.
You know, over the last 5 years, you see that Christiansburg has continued to grow. We've continued to expand. We've grown not only in retail shopping and restaurants and those type things, and we've got some industries that have come in. But I want to go back to when I graduated from high school here in 1966. We had 3,200 citizens in the town. We now have 24,000 plus. So we have grown a great deal. We have expanded, and when you grow, you have to expand your services. What do I see in the future? My personal belief as a mayor is if a town stops growing, they're going to die. So we hope that we can continue to control the growth as council has been very efficient at in the last several years. We just want to keep it at a steady pace. And of course, as I said, as you expand and grow out, and we're now expanded at one point we were 3.2 square miles, and now we're 14.4 square miles. So that's increased the number of police officers, the area for the fire rescue. So, you know, growth is sometimes good, but it's better if it's a controlled growth. And that's what I think the goal of town council is at this point, is to try to control and stay within the guidelines of what property owners' rights are in order to help control that growth.
Well, now that question's kind of a setup for me, because if I say all the wonderful things I love about Christiansburg over the last 5 years, then Mr. Barber gets the credit for that. And but that's okay. I do love living here in Christiansburg, and you know, maybe this isn't a popular opinion, but as someone with young grandchildren, I greatly enjoy the Huckleberry Park. I think that's a fantastic. I know it was extremely expensive and a little controversial, but I, as a citizen, enjoy it greatly. I think we have other great things going on with the trails and the improvements to pedestrian safety, and some things planned for increased traffic safety and to improve traffic flow. Love our rec center, love our aquatic center. At this point, sorry, but I agree with Mike that we have to manage growth. I mean, we can't just grow for growth's sake, because with growth comes the challenges that he articulated very well. And so at this point, I think what I would like to say is it's almost like we need to just take a little pause. If in the next, say, 4 or 5 years, let's take a breath, let's take a pause and work. Many of our facilities need maintenance. I know the Aquatic Center needs a HVAC system to the tune of, like, I don't know, 10 million. I don't know if that's exactly the figure, but it has other challenges with air quality, and there's some improvements that are needed at the rec center. We need to kind of take a pause and do some maintenance and maybe some improvements to our existing facilities, and then we can talk about additional amenities.
So our next question is focused on challenges. So what is the top challenge faced by Christiansburg, and how would you address that challenge? And we will start first with Carl.
Well, I hate to keep saying the same thing, but I think our greatest challenge is managing growth. It seems that everybody I talk to wants to live in Christiansburg. I don't blame them. We would love to sell our house. It's far too big. We raised our 3 children there. We live in like this, you know, small little portion of it, but we can't find another house in Christiansburg to purchase. We can't find land to purchase to build something. So, you know, I understand everybody wants to move to Christiansburg and live in Christiansburg. I don't want to see us become a bedroom community for Blacksburg, and I certainly don't want to become Blacksburg with all the high rises. It's, you know, sidewalk level, but some growth, yeah. I mean, as Mike said, if you don't grow, you die. There's going to be some natural growth, and with the growth in population, there are going to services and amenities and other related things are going to have to grow as well. I do know our schools are capable of handling growth. We've built them in the past, even with Christiansburg High School, the renovations going on. Those have been built and are being built with growth in mind. So at least we have that set. But I do think that's our biggest challenge.
Mike?
Well, you know, with growth does come the challenges of housing, and we are in a very slim housing market here in Christiansburg right now. It's very hard to for people to afford homes. I get the question all the time about affordable housing. Well, I've never been given the definition of affordable housing. But what I think the town needs to be able to work with the builders and developers, if we can down the road, is what we call workforce housing, mm-hmm. where the starting teachers and even the people that are working, you know, hourly rate rates on production or food services or, that they can be able to afford. Now, that's really nice and I'd like to be able to wave that magic wand, but it's hard unless we can come to some accord and agreement. It's hard for me to look a developer in the eye that wants to build a 25-house subdivision or a 60-house subdivision or whatever. It's hard for me to look him in the eye and say, well, yeah, you can do that, but you can't charge more than $300,000 for that house, or you can't rent it out for more than $1,000 a month. The cost of living has gone up. The cost of building has gone up in the last 5 years from $65 a square foot to approximately $130 a square foot now. So it's just hard for a builder to do the affordable housing side of it and still make a profit for his business, which is what he's in business to do. Thank you.
I'd like to respond.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know how you incentivize builders to do anything different. As Mike said, they're in the business of making money, but housing market is controlled by interest rates and supply and demand, and the demand seems to outweigh the supply right now in Christiansburg. I looked up the numbers, and the average range for a house in Christiansburg is $267 to $417. That just is unbelievable to me. And the median rent is $17.95 a month. And if you go with the rule of thumb, you shouldn't spend more than about 25% of your income on housing. Someone would have to make almost $77,000 a year to pay that rent. I don't think $77,000 a year jobs grow on trees. And so I don't have the answer to it either. It's just inflation out of control. But incentivizing builders, try to figure that out. Right?
Yeah, that's right. If I can re-respond to his response, to my response.
Only if I get to re-respond to your re-response.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I'm only kidding.
So now I got all that and I forgot what I was going to tell you. One of the things that you look back on, and I look at my house that I live in, I bought my house 30 years ago for $70,000. Today it's worth close to $300,000. And the market itself has done that to it, the interest rates. So we have developers that say, well, people that are wanting to upgrade from their house they bought 10 years ago can sell their house and buy this new house. But the problem is they're going to sell it for probably 3 times more than what they paid for it, which they have to do. And it still makes it unaffordable to most people.
Yeah, I can't even downgrade.
I know, yeah.
So anyway.
So me either. So let's move to our next question. And it's kind of almost along the same lines because we're seeing an increase of homelessness across our localities here in the New River Valley. And so what do you see as the town's role in addressing homelessness? Mike?
Well, really, it's in a lot of cases with homelessness, the people want to have to be helped. There are a lot of homeless people in the area that, you go to and you try. They don't want help. They don't want help. So it's been suggested, well, maybe the town should open a homeless shelter. Well, that's pretty reasonable to request, except when you look at to build a homeless shelter that would be enough to handle more than 10 or 12 people, it's going to cost you almost $1.5 million to build it and $3.6 million every year to service it. That's taxpayer money. I mean, it's like we contribute all the time, the town does. We have several agencies in town that we fund that provide housing and provide food and shelters and this type of stuff. So that's one of the easier ways for us to do that instead of trying to take on what might be an unwinnable situation. I mean, we have a lot of homeless people. I understand that. But I don't know, how can we help them in the wintertime with warming shelters? Quite possibly, and I think some of the churches do that. But as far as to take on the role as a benefactor of all of the homeless people, which I would guarantee you 50 or 60% of them aren't from Christiansburg and they aren't paying taxes. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to start off by saying I certainly don't agree with criminalizing homelessness. I don't think it's something that anybody wants to be. I do know that there are people who are homeless that would not accept help, but those people probably have some other problems that need to be dealt with, perhaps mental health problems. But yeah, I agree. Like the cost of addressing the homeless problem, I don't know that's something the town can afford to do or should try to address directly. I think that really falls to churches, other places of worship, civic organizations, and we have many that do that. Perhaps the town could subsidize some of those existing shelters, maybe perhaps through some zoning, encourage additional shelters. But I don't know. Earlier there was a question about lowering taxes. That's going to increase taxes if that's something that we look at. The human in me wants to reach out and help those people. But I feel like it really belongs more with civic organizations, places of worship, things like that. And again, the town could perhaps subsidize those efforts.
Thank you both. Our next question is about the Aquatic Center. So please comment on the current and future state of funding for the Aquatic Center. Carl, you first.
Okay, so this comes from my my listening tour this summer. Several people wanted to chat me up about the Aquatic Center. A lot of people wanted to tell me things about how it shouldn't have been built in the first place and how it was built all wrong, and there's nothing any of us can do about that. It exists. It's a wonderful facility. It's a state-of-the-art facility. My understanding now is that it has air quality issues and it has HVAC issues. So it even sounds like it's somewhat unsafe for people to be in there. It is something that does generate revenue through meals tax and lodging tax and bringing people in for competitions and things. So, I mean, it's here to stay. We're not going to knock it down and close it and say, that was a mistake, let's not do it. So I understand, $10 million is a lot of money for an HVAC unit, but let's do it right this time. Let's get the air quality issues addressed. Let's get it up and running better. And it's a big chunk of money. It's a big chunk of the budget. I looked at the budget, and it's budgeted for to take care of all that. That's all I really have to say about that.
Mike?
Well, I agree. The Aquatic Center has been around 15 years, I believe it is now. And yes, it does have an air quality issue at this point in time. It has had them over the years, and we have nickeled and dimed and spit duct tape and WD-40 those systems as long as we can. That system that was put in there was designed to last 8 years. That's 15 years into the go. Now, what we are doing, yes, we are going to replace that HVAC system. We just finished putting solar power into the Aquatic Center, and we're going to do so on the Rec Center also. But $10 million is a chunk. However, staff has been budgeting, the town's been budgeting for this for years. So it's not like we didn't know it was coming. And that's how you effectively manage a town and your utilities, and you have to set money aside in order to take care of these things. So last year it was projected at $8.4 million. This year, because of cost of inflation, you name it, whatever it is, it's gone now to 10.2, 10.4, something like that. But we had already budgeted and set aside in those reserve funds that I told you about, $8 million of it. We were able to move within other budgeted items the $2.4 million to complete the process. So as far as it actually costing the taxpayers, yes, it did over the period of time. I'd be an idiot to tell you it doesn't. But it's not a jolt that we would have to go out and say, well, we got to replace this air conditioning unit and we're going to raise your taxes 10 cents per 100. No. Smart budgeting. We knew it was going to happen. We just wanted to get there when we could. Thank you.
Our next question is about businesses. What do you feel can be done to attract more small businesses in the town? So Mike, this question is for you first.
Okay, well, we have if you're talking downtown, or are you talking town, the 14.4 square miles, everybody wants to see a vibrant downtown. I remember when Christiansburg downtown was a vibrant downtown. The times caught up with them. Stores started to open, the malls started to open. Town of Christiansburg was not designed to handle the traffic of a mall. So you also have to look at Town of Christiansburg, other than our building where we're sitting tonight, and the police station and fire, we don't own any business. We don't own any property downtown. So it's up to working with the developers, or with the Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Christiansburg Incorporated. They all have the goal of wanting to expand businesses to Christiansburg. It just seems like more recently that business has expanded over to the marketplace, which is going great guns. It's after sitting almost vacant for 15 years. It is an economic hub to the county and to the town. The county gets most of the sales tax, but we get our fair share out of it. So, do you incentivize businesses to come downtown? Well, what about the companies that the Angles Florists, the Burger Kings that have been here forever, and we didn't give you any incentive? Why should we start now? And it's really, it's a tough thing for a business. Everybody says, I want you to bring me a cookout. Well, it's not up to us to bring cookout. Now, we can contact, but it's up to, the franchise owners.
Yeah, I didn't eat dinner before I came, so talking about cookouts,
Yeah.
that's a little rough. Actually, that's a conversation Mike and I had as we were sitting up here together waiting for this to begin. Revitalizing downtown to what it once was, it's a great goal. I grew up in a small town, and there were a couple of movie theaters and some bakeries and some specialty shops, and there was a fabric store I remember my mom dragging me to, and I bought all my school clothes at this one corner store downtown. It was really kind of an idyllic downtown experience as a child. And I've heard longtime residents of Christiansburg tell me of days gone by where downtown Christiansburg was like that. Even when I first came to Montgomery County in the early 80s, I do remember the Western store being down there. And I remember, was it Belk that was down there, or Rose's? And
Well, it was Leggett's.
Leggett's, that's
Then
it.
it became Belk.
Then it became Belk.
And it moved.
And, it was cool, even as a Virginia Tech student, it was a cool place to come. But Mike took the words really right out of my mouth. Incentivize businesses to come down there, but then, what about the people who are already down there? We have to take care of them too. I get irritated that, I drop my cable company and then I get this thing in the mail that says, we want your business back, so we'll give it to you for half. What about saying, you've been a long-time customer, we'd like to offer you half? So I think that's a conundrum. Would I love to see downtown revitalized? Yes, there's parking issues, there's pedestrian foot traffic issues. I will defer to greater wisdom on how to do it, but do I support the idea of doing it? Absolutely. It sounds wonderful.
Thank you. I enjoyed that walk down memory lane of Christiansburg that was.
Cookout.
Well, they took out, but Leggett was my favorite store. So our next question reads, how would you strive to meet the great need for early childhood education and daycare in Christiansburg?
I guess that's to me
Carl,
first.
that is
Yeah.
first.
Wow, that's a real tough one. I mean, people can't work. People who have small children, they can't go to work. As I said earlier, if you're not making what did I say, $78,000 a year, like you can barely afford your $1,800 a month rent. That's going to require two people to work. That's going to require two people in a family to work. And what are you going to do with the little kids while they're there? Your daycare, my own children with their little children pay an exorbitant amount for daycare. And I think if they crunched the numbers and really looked at it, they might break down in tears to see how probably more than half of one of their salaries is going to childcare. Again, I wish I had an answer to that. That seems like a nationwide problem that no one can solve. We already have early childhood programs in our local schools. Many people aren't aware of that or of the process to apply for it. Perhaps we can encourage the schools to do more of it and to advertise it more. I don't know. But it's a money-making business, right? People are making tons of money with childcare and before and after school care. And it's a booming business because people have to work and their kids can't just stay at home. So I wish I had an answer for that. I don't. I wish I had a solution. Yeah. I had an answer.
Mike.
Well, in days gone by, it seemed to me like almost every church in Christiansburg had a daycare center, a child care center, but the liabilities that have incurred over the years, as far as the insurance and the health standards and these type things, have had a lot of churches and private child care agencies decide, well, I don't know whether we want to do this anymore or not. So it shrinks the pool, and I'm just thankful that I'm not having to worry about child care and this type of stuff right now. And it kind of goes back to, well, what's the town's role? Does it kind of go back to, well, that's kind of like the homeless shelters. If we build them and staff them and operate them and insure them and this type of stuff, it would be nice for the town to be able to do that, but it's not the town's responsibility. We give to agencies that support children and different things, and that's the best way we think we can do it, by controlling our community giving to the areas that would really benefit from it. So it's at a loss, and I remember child care was $50 a week, I think it was, back when my children were growing up, and I thought, God, how am I going to afford this? Now I shudder to think what the new parents and the parents of the 4 or 5 year olds are going to do until they can get them into school. Possibly the schools could drop down another age group and pick them up. But again, it all goes back into who pays for it? Taxpayer. It's still, whether it's county taxpayers, and we're county taxpayers, it's still a burden on the income.
Thank you. Our next question is about public safety. And so the question reads, not everyone feels safe with more police. Please explain the degree of cooperation you want to see with ICE and other federal and state law enforcement agencies. Or would you?
Is it mine?
Mike, that's you.
Sorry, Mike, you're first.
Oh, that's all right. Well, and I understand that not everybody feels safe around the police. I get that. But take policing away, and you got everybody scared now. So we have an adequate police force. We could probably expand it. I think when I was in high school, we had 7 sworn officers, and now we have, Chris, 65-ish, 62. But we've also grown from 3.2 square miles to 14.5 square miles. So, we run 4 shifts, and those shifts, while you say, gosh, they got 62 police officers. Yeah, but, those at any given time, there's probably not any more than 8 per shift. I'm 9 per shift to cover the town of Christiansburg, cover 1,400 square miles. So, I think we've not had the influence that, or the intrusion, I would say, of ICE and the other places that the big cities are looking at. And I think that, I think our crime rate here is very low. And I think that that's one of the reasons that, we are a safe town and a successful town, is because crime rates are low. Our police officers do a very, very good job. They are accredited. So we just have not, that on my knowledge, and have not had the issues with the deportation and the illegal aliens coming. I'm not saying they're not here, but I mean, I don't think we've had the issues that other areas, even Roanoke, and all are expanding. Thank you.
I certainly understand that not everyone feels comfortable or safe around the police or in our area or all over the place, that people feel that way. I do. I feel very safe here in Christiansburg. One of the greatest things I think that we have here in our town, in our county, is that we have school resource officers starting at a very young age, and that is community policing at its very best, as far as I'm concerned. To watch how the children, both young and old, interact with the police officers in the schools really has gone a long way to build trust between the police and our citizens, albeit the young folks, but they'll eventually be our age. So to what degree would we cooperate? That's conjecture. I mean, I don't know. I know this, that, I have known some illegal immigrants here in town, some children, and, I just feel very protective of them because they're children. And so when you personalize it, it sure makes it a whole lot more difficult to say, oh yeah, I think, they're illegal, so ship them out. When you know somebody and you know their story, it makes it a lot more difficult. So again, I would have to defer to our law enforcement people because they do a good job of keeping us safe.
And I will echo Carl on the school resource officers. I think that's probably one of the best moves that a municipality can do is to get the children in there and teach them that, just because a guy's got a badge, he's not bad. I mean, a lot of these school resource officers tell me that a lot of times I'm looked at as a parent to some of these children that just don't have the home life that they need. Thank you.
Our next question is, and so to preface this, at the state level, there's been discussion on increasing the VRL's multiplier for public safety employees. What would be your position on adopting this for town public safety employees?
That's to me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Listen, town public safety employees are, in my opinion, grossly underpaid. They selflessly put themselves on the line for us. We can go most of our lives without ever needing them, but buddy, when you need them, you need them. And I know I recently, about 8 months ago, cut 3 fingers off on a table saw. Now 2 have been sewn back on, so it's all right.
I was looking.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I always tell people I have 9.5 good fingers. But anyway, I didn't need the rescue squad before that. Well, yeah, once I had a heart attack. But when you need them, you're happy they're there. And it's the same with police. I think I could tell this story quick enough within my time limit. My wife grew up not around guns, not comfortable with guns, and I grew up around guns and very comfortable with guns. And she, when we first got married, said she didn't want one in the house, blah, blah, blah. We had this disagreement. But, one night I went to bed early, and it turns out that one of the dogs knocked something over in the basement, but she didn't know that. And all of a sudden, she and the dogs come running up the stairs to the bedroom and jump in the bed and wake me up. And the first words out of her mouth was, "Get the gun." And I feel that's analogous to the police situation. You might, not be comfortable around police, but when you need them, you're glad they're there. And so, yes, I think we should take care of them. They're already underpaid. When they retire, I think we should do everything we can to take care of them financially for the service they've done for our community.
Carl, you're 100% correct. I think that anything that we can do to supplement our public safety people, and that's fire rescue, police, these type things, because of the job that they do, they put their lives on the line for us every day. They get up in the middle of the night, they leave Christmas lunches and dinners to go out and tend to somebody that's been in an accident or gotten sick or investigate a crime. So yeah, I believe in paying our first responder people, is what we'll call them, as much, a better wage than they can make in the other areas, and we are pretty consistent that we do have a very competitive wage structure here. But to help to enhance them in their retirement years, and I realize that they can retire after, I think it's 20 years, 25, certain 25 and 50 or so, based on an age thing, and a lot of officers are opting out of it. But we need to take care of them as though we need to take care of all of our other employees as far as cost of living and making sure that they earn a fair minimum wage to keep one. It keeps our employees happy, it keeps them here, and it attracts new employees from other localities.
Thank you. So we are down to our last two questions of the evening. And so the second to the last question reads, do you believe that government should be transparent and accountable to its citizens? If yes, how do you ensure that? Mike?
Yeah, I definitely believe it. Now, there's a lot of times that people will say, well, that's not very behind closed doors. If you think the town of Christiansburg is not transparent now, you ought to have seen us 20 years ago. I mean, that's all I could say. There were times that I remember years gone by before my term on council that basically the town manager would get together with town council and say, no, this is what we're going to do. A lot of the stuff was decided. We try to be as transparent as we can. Am I always that way? I'll say not. But the effort is there, the goal is there, and we should be transparent. The citizens own it. They own us, they don't own us. But we owe it to the citizens to keep them in the loop. We used to never televise a town council meeting, any of these type things. And now we're doing all the things that help us keep in open conversation within the citizens. Now, there are times that there will be closed sessions that we have to do. People understand that. There are certain things, not many, but there are certain things we'll have to do and go behind closed doors. But no, transparency is, I will say this, transparency is much, much, much better now and in the past 10, 15 years than it was 30, 40 years ago.
Carl?
Listen, I think transparency is at the heart of good government. I mean, not to be corny, but, government's supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. I don't consider people in government above me. I don't care what level it is, from the president on down. They work for me, and they work to represent me. And so as mayor, I would take that very seriously. If you look at the org chart for the town, which I took a peek at a couple nights ago, it doesn't say mayor at the top. It says the citizens of Christiansburg at the top. And then under that is the mayor and the town council and the city manager. So I would take that very seriously, that I am here not to serve my own interests. I'm not here to forward my own agenda. I'm here to serve the citizens of the town and to listen to everyone. And as Mike said earlier, because we talked about it earlier, you can listen to everyone. I believe everyone's voice should be heard, but you couldn't possibly please everyone. But I think you need to be extremely transparent in everything you do, but also in that fact. I've been asked a ton of questions on Facebook. People have gone to my Facebook page and then messengered me questions. And some of them are kind of like difficult to answer, but I vowed to answer them and answer them honestly, to be personally transparent. People figure out if you're being dishonest. People can figure out very quickly if you're being disingenuous. So I have found great success in my career and in my personal life by just being a transparent person. So I would carry that on to further public service in public office.
Thank you. And for our last question, which I'm very interested in you all's answer, because
no.
I believe I've seen more deer
Oh, my
this
goodness,
year
yes.
than ever in my entire life.
And skunks.
Do you have any ideas about controlling the population of deer as open areas are paved and built up in houses, with houses and apartments?
That's to me, isn't it? Okay, I'm like the world's biggest animal lover, right? I don't hunt, but I don't fault people who. I think it's a sport, but also people use it for food, and it's also used to control the population. You know, my understanding is you get a certain amount of tags. Is that the right term? Some hunter out there? Oh, thank you. But so could we increase the number of tags? I think that there are. Some localities, I read an article once about localities who empower or authorize the police to go out and shoot deer just for the sake of controlling the population. We are completely overrun with them. And my neighborhood they're brazen. They just walk up my driveway and eat my bushes. And my dogs kind of keep them out of the backyard and garden. But I worry about public safety, right? I worry about my own safety, my children, my family's safety, driving, because they just jump right out in front of you and just kind of stare at you, with incredulity. They're kind of like, who are you? So yeah, we need to control that population, and so I'm for enforcing, what's the right word? The authority to eliminate those that are being a nuisance and to lessen the population. Absolutely, and people don't go to waste, right? The people eat them. I don't, but people eat them.
Mike?
When I don't say we, the town, but we, society, and we, growth, have done this. We have allowed our areas to grow, and there's fewer and fewer and fewer actually open areas, and they're forcing the deer, the bear, more into town. So I know that Blacksburg does have a deer kill system. It's very controlled, and it's not. I think there's certain areas and a certain size of an area that they can go into, and they will eradicate. The last time I saw 79 or 80 deer, which you think, man, that ought to get it. Well, no, they're all back. Seems like the next year, but I don't like the thought of opening up just the fact of hunting in town, which we will not do. We do have, if you have 5 acres of land, house and 5 acres, I think you can hunt with a bow. Chris, am I right on that? Pretty much so. You can use a bow, but I don't know the answer other than to tell you, do we need to stop expanding? Well, then as Carl and I said, if we stop expanding, we start dying. So it's a matter of, do we need to learn to live with the deer? I've got 3 up in my neighborhood that have been there for 4 or 5 years. It's a peaceful coexistence. So I don't like them on the roads, but a lot of times they pay the price when they jump out there. Thank you.
Thank you both for answering some really difficult questions this evening. And so now you'll have the opportunity to give a closing statement, which you will have 2 minutes to do that as well. And since we started our opening statements with Mike Barber, we'll start our closing statements with Carl Pauley.
Okay. Well, as I said at the onset, I am not a politician, but I do have a proven track record of good leadership and a commitment to listening to people and welcoming all the voices to be heard and to make the best decisions possible for our town. I have a common sense approach to budgeting, needs-based, putting needs above wants. That has worked well for my family. We live well below our means, and so we have money for a rainy day, and it sounds like that would be a good approach to government funding. I certainly want to be a voice for the people, keep taxes as low as possible. And the main thing I think that we have to be concerned about is managing growth. In managing growth, we do have to grow, but and in doing so, we want to be respectful of the town and neighborhood character of Christiansburg. Again, I hate to pick on Blacksburg, but I mean, if you've been down there lately, it looks like Northern Virginia. Not to pick on them either, but like the high rises are I don't want to see Christiansburg become a bunch of high rises like that. We need to manage growth and respect the neighborhood and town character, and do so in a very thoughtful and planful way. And those are things that I feel I can bring to the table.
Thank you. Mike?
I have spent, as I told you, 26 years as an elected official. I apparently have done a reasonable job, or I would not have been reelected or elected the 7 times that I've stood election over the last 26 years. But I want to keep giving. I have a lot still to give to the town of Christiansburg and the citizens. I'm fortunate that I serve on some committees and some boards that have been able to do that. I've served on one board that gave, over the last 2 years, we gave $8.8 million worth of scholarship money to the medical schools, to the Redford University, New River Community College, and VCOM at Tech. That's $8.8 million that our students can get the benefit of and do get the benefit of. So, I'm not trying to paint a picture that I'm something that I'm not. We all have our faults. We all have our downturns, but what you see is what you get. I am a proven leader. I have been on board when the town has grown. It's the majority of its recent growth. I think we have controlled it, but again, as Carl said, we need to stop. Maybe slow down. We don't never want to stop growing some of that growth and take up so we can keep up with the infrastructure needs. But, all you get with me, you get honesty. Best I can tell you.
Thank you. Can we give our candidates a round of applause? It's really hard to run for office, and so I want to thank both of you all for stepping up to do this for the citizens of Christiansburg.
Carl, I just want to warn you of one thing. Okay. When I first became mayor, I was 6'5". So watch yourself.
Well, I'm actually 30 years old. It's just the mileage that.
So look, as moderator, I've been trying to keep a straight face. They have made this very difficult this evening. But I do want to remind you all that next Thursday will be our Town Council Candidate Forum, same time, same place. And just a reminder that early vote does begin on September 19th. So thank you all for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you.
Carl, enjoyed it.
Pleasure. We agree on.
Y'all did good.
How boring was that?
Maybe we just be co-mayors.
I was just going
I'd
to
be
say,
like-
maybe we should be running mates.
Y'all did, that was really good. Y'all did a good job.
About this deer,
Was that your question?
well, no, one month, but I'm, where I've been living, that's been developed for years, so it's not, the thing I think contributes to it, maybe help alleviate it, it's not legal to feed deer. And there's people out there, like, don't feed them. That's one thing.
Well, they feed them to draw them to their homes.
Well, they're there, and it's like, we're not gonna get rid of them, there's probably more deer, and it's like, it's not legal, it's not really humane.
But you plant a garden and they're going to eat it. I mean,
I mean,
but you mean setting out.
About people that put out.
Oh, yeah.
it's
Well, because
illegal.
they're cute.
And I think what the town can do is do the, law enforcement and everything.
Yes,
Like,
code enforcement.
yeah, well, and then just PSAs, just, hey, look, it's like it's illegal and it's like, you get busted.
We do PSAs about dog poops, so we can do it about that.
Yeah, so I think